Hi and welcome to another edition of OnsideSA, the soccer show that lets you know what's going on. We've got to the critical stages now of the Europa Cup final, the Champions League final, the Scottish League's going well, the South African League's coming to its denouement.
Yeah, boiling point, Paul. Top teams don't want to win it, go over the line. Yeah, Chiefs got beat last night and Sundowns looked terrible. Pirates can't score a goal. So
it's amazing, you know, and they come back from the virus and whoa, it really is amazing. But good that we got some football we can talk about with Stevie B. He's in the studio. Stevie, can you hear us?
I can. Good morning.
Morning, Steve. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
I believe it's a wonderful day there. I was speaking to Muff.
Well, for the first time in about 5 or 6 days, we've got sunshine. So we had a week of intense heat, followed by storms, and now it looks like it's sort of dry, but not hot, but pleasant.
Okie dokie. Okay.
Talking about storms, Steve, what's happening? Any premiership signings?
It's just like the Cold War, isn't it? In the sort of run-up, we've still got many weeks of the transfer window open, so lots of rumours, but as you know yourself, it needs one or two big ones to happen, and then you have a trickle effect. Yeah. Chelsea is still linked with numerous players. I think where you've got an issue is that obviously you've got things like the French League start now. Yes. The Bundesliga is starting earlier, so clubs want to know where they stand, but with the transfer window open until 5th of October, I think a lot of clubs' sort of plans could be, all over the place if, they want to know they've got their squad ready. So I think, there are going to be a lot of things. Not that many big money ones. Yeah. Obviously, the big teams that we know, the Chelseas, the Uniteds, City, but otherwise, I don't think there'll be a huge amount of money sort of lower down.
Yeah, I've just seen... Coutinho's name's been earmarked for back to the Premier League. Any ideas?
Yeah, well, very interesting. So the Barcelona president, who's just hired Ronald Koeman, has basically listed 8 players who they say are not for sale, and virtually everybody else is. Ooh. So Coutinho is not on the list of the 8 players that they definitely want to keep. So I think there's going to be a lot of changes at Barcelona, even if Koeman is only there for 1 year.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I think he'll be there longer than that.
Anything in the papers about Bale?
Not much. All we hear from his camp and his agent is that he's prepared to stick it out. I don't quite understand that, because if he's not part of Zidane's plans, I can't understand why he would just want to sit there and just take the money and not play, because he doesn't need the money in the same. Wherever he goes, he'd get paid well, but to just sit on the bench, or not even on the bench for the next 2 years, doesn't make any sense at all. No. So I think something will happen. Maybe he's waiting for Real to pay him off. I'm not sure they necessarily want to do that, or they can afford to do that, because it would cost about 50 million to do that, but he's got 2 years left on his contract.
Wow, big money.
Steve, do you think there'll be a player sold for 100 million in this transfer window, especially with the COVID?
I would be surprised. I think we know that United aren't prepared to pay that for Sancho. Yeah. I'm not sure there's anybody else that has been linked with for that sort of size. So hopefully, like the days of like we had with the Neymar or even Coutinho transfer. Yeah. I can't believe we'll have 100 million plus this summer.
Just one quick question talking about Man United. Do they need a winger? Haven't they got other areas?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a lot of clubs do. Their fans know what they need, and they go out and buy somebody else. So, look, United need players at the back. They don't need more players at the front. So, look, they are obviously heavily linked with Sancho still, and players of that ilk. They obviously feel they still need a bit more sort of someone with attacking midfield. But otherwise, the defence, especially after the way they threw the game against Seville with that, those howler at the back, you think that they need stronger defenders.
All right, Steve's talking about Seville. Can they beat Inter Milan?
Look, why not? I've obviously watched both games. I've watched all their games since the lockdown in the Cup. Yeah. we said that Seville are dangerous. I mean, to be fair, they defended for their lives. I mean, that first 10 minutes of the second half, United did everything but score. They just weren't clinical enough, and Seville caught them out. I watched Inter. I thought Shakhtar were very disappointing.
Yeah, they were.
Once the second goal went in, they just basically gave up, and Inter could have had any number in the end. But there is no reason why Seville can't win that game. I think Inter will go in as favourites, but you can't write Seville off.
Steve, I read somewhere, or I heard somewhere, I was watching something on telly, that Lukaku is now 1 goal behind the Brazilian Ronaldo for that club's record in a season.
Well, he scored in 10 Europa games in a row now, which is incredible. He's having a wonderful season, and he took his goals really well. I mean, you just sort of think, when you look at some of the finishing by United, they just couldn't take those chances, and then Lukaku just absolutely rampant this season. But sometimes, players have to move on for them to get the best out of themselves again.
Well, look at last night, a classic example. The guy who scored the goal from Arsenal. What was his name?
Yeah, Gnabry.
Well, brilliant.
Apart from that, he was sent out on loan when he was a bit younger to West Brom and couldn't get a game.
That's right.
You just think, if you were an Arsenal fan now, thinking, how on earth did we let this guy go?
Yeah.
So I mean, he's had a wonderful season, and the thing with Bayern Munich is they've got so many players that can hurt you. I think that's where, even though Lewandowski got his 55th goal of the season, which is unbelievable, they've got players all over the pitch that are capable of scoring.
Yeah, right. Talking to Bayern Munich, you think they'll be too good for PSG?
I think so, but again, we saw that they've still got frailties at the back. I mean, Lyon, really should have taken the lead, and again, Lyon had chances, but they're like a machine. Once they just keep going, Bayern, and they just keep going, and they're going to wear you down. At the moment, I think they go out on the pitch knowing that they're not going to lose. I mean, as we 28 wins and a draw in the last 29 now or something. It's just phenomenal. And with a player like Lewandowski, who, even if he has what seems to be a relatively quiet game, he just scores. But they've got so many players who can do it. But PSG, I think if they had some of those chances that Lyon did, with the quality that they have up front, they would take them. So I think it's going to be the game we wanted to see out of the two semi-finals. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All right. Steve had Manuel Neuer. He was the best goalkeeper in the world. It looks like he's made a statement in this Champions League.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you've got some big name goalkeepers out there, and he really has. I mean, he's a lot of people are saying, there's other goalkeepers in Europe that are better than
not
him,
in his league,
like Oblak or whatever. But he's always there and thereabouts, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah, I was a Ter Stegen fan, but I can see why Neuer plays for Germany.
Yeah, he's
Steve,
very good.
On to the Scottish Premiership. We get the occasional game on ESPN. You guys get them all. We need a lot of help on it. Motherwell are at home to Hamilton. Should they be too good?
I think they will. Motherwell haven't won this year. They played very well. I watched the game against Hibernian.
Yeah, they should have won.
They played very well. Hamilton can't buy a point at the moment. So I would be very surprised if they don't win that Motherwell.
Okay, now Rangers, I think we will more than likely have the game. Will they be too good for Kilmarnock?
They should do. I mean, Kilmarnock had a good draw with Celtic, to be fair to them. They put up a good show, but Rangers should be too strong. They dropped points the other day, again, slightly surprisingly, on the Livingston's artificial pitch. But I would be very surprised if they didn't win that.
Yeah, I watched that.
Comfortably.
Yeah, I watched that game as well. You know what amazes me with Celtic and Rangers? They don't have too many midfield players that are creative.
Yeah, but look, I think the truth is, for these teams that play them, this is their biggest games of the season, and they want to put on a good show, and I think they haven't got the same quality, but they've got to match them in work rate, and I think that's what Livingston did the other day, and Kilmarnock did as well. Yeah. But then I feel sorry for Livingston. They, having just probably got one of their best results for a while, they then go and sell their star player to QPR yesterday for $2 million.
Okay.
Dykes.
So that ends their hopes. Now, two teams that have started off quite well this season, St Mirren and Ross County. Should call there, Steve.
Yeah, that's a close game, and I think St Mirren at home might be a bit too strong, but draw might be favourite there.
Okay, we go on to Dundee United Celtic. Any chance of an upset?
Well, I've been quite sort of impressed with what I've seen of Dundee United.
Yeah.
The one game they lost at home to Hibernian, they played quite well. But I think Celtic, I mean, they had a very easy, convincing win, 6-0 during the week in Europe. I think Celtic will come back and be a bit too strong. But I think it'll be close. I don't think there'll be more than a goal or two in it.
Okay, now Aberdeen, who play, I think they play St Johnstone tonight. You think they'll be too good second game around for Livingston?
I think they will be. Having said that, we haven't seen much of Aberdeen. They had their one and only game that they've played compared to, like, Rangers have played 4. Some of the teams have played 4. They've played 1. But I think they will be too strong for them. I mean, it depends. Obviously, they're playing tonight, and then 2 or 3 days later they're playing again. But I would expect them to be. Now that I think Livingston have just sold their star player, I think Aberdeen will probably just be a bit too strong for them.
Okay, and last but not least, I watched Hibernian last week against Motherwell. They were woeful. We had them in our bets, and they should have got beat. Can they come back against St Johnstone?
I think they can. I think they probably know that they need to do better. Considering they'd won the 3 previous games, I think they will. I think they'll. So Johnson play tonight
against
Aberdeen. I just wonder whether playing sort of two games in 3 days when they've only just come back might be quite tough for them. So I think Hibernian will come back with a closely fought game but win.
All right, Steve. Before I ask you for your best bet and your value bet, any news coming out of your beloved Fulham?
Well, interesting. I mean, all of a sudden in the last couple of days, having been linked with a number of players, we've been linked with 3 names in the last 2 days. The first one, which I find hard to believe, but the story is going around Spain, is that Fulham are making a bid for Gerard Piqué, which you have to think is just crazy because...
the centre-half.
Yeah.
The centre-half, the sort of wages that he would be on would be bizarre. But we are evidently being linked with both the Couré of Watford and Callum Wilson of Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And those are the sort of players.
That's what you need.
It's what we need. It's nice to see us being linked with players of that sort of quality. Now, the chairman's son, Tony Khan, the director of football, having said we don't think we're going to spend a lot of money, well, if you want those 2 players, you're going to be having to spend sort of 20-25 million minimum on each. So... be interesting to see, but it's nice that all of a sudden we're being linked. But there's everyone's being linked with everybody at the moment, and I think that's I think we're still a week or 2 away from there sort of being sort of signings going through.
Yeah. Talking that guy from Watford, is it Ismail Sarr, the young right winger?
Good player.
Yeah, I mean he's been linked with 1 or 2 bigger clubs in the Premier League and in Europe. I suspect both Sarr, the Couré and Delafeu will probably all go.
Yeah.
Talking to my brother, who's a Watford season ticket holder, I think they feel that they want to offload some of the higher waged players as well. So it wouldn't be at all surprised you might see players like Andre Gray go, maybe even Troy Deeney. I think they just might need. They've got a new manager now, Ivic, who was at Maccabi Tel Aviv. So he's won the league with them 2 years running. So I think that they're hoping that they'll sort of regroup and come back up. But I think that they will need to sell to buy. And you're probably aware that the fixtures are out for the Premier League 9 o'clock this morning in the UK.
Okay.
Oh, excellent. Let's get all those. Thanks for letting us know. Yeah.
Now, what's going to happen? When will the United and Man City games, will they just delay them at 10 days or so?
Yeah, well, so I'm sort of reading this morning. It seems to be now that Chelsea and Wolves have been given 2 days extra.
Okay.
So they will play their first game on Monday, the 14th of September.
Makes
sense. It does look now as if United and City will not play on the opening weekend. They'll start the following weekend.
Okay, and just play a midweek catch-up.
At one point, they're entitled to 30 days. So there was talk yesterday that they might have to play midweek, but it looks as if now that the Premier League have probably given them permission not to play on the opening weekend, and then to start the following weekend of the 19th. Very interesting, because the season has been condensed by a month, because obviously we're still finishing May, but we're starting a month later, and with all the European commitments teams have, there are very few midweeks available, especially when you've got internationals as well.
Yeah,
so it's going to be quite tight. They say there's only something like about four weeks where that are absolutely clear at the moment during midweek games that they can fit some of these in. So obviously, if we start to get games postponed, if you've got players and squads that pick up any more COVID infections, I think it's going to be quite hard to rearrange some of these games. And they don't really want us to have to do what they did this year, is end up having to play sort of 3 games in a week, for a number of weeks. So at the moment, we're on schedule. September 12th, Saturday the 12th will be the start of the Premier League.
So 10 o'clock our time, the fixtures will come out.
Yeah,
Stephen,
are out. And the EFL fixtures are out tomorrow. So I guess they don't, because otherwise the danger is if they all come out at the same time, people only take notice of the Premier League games. So the Premier League first, the EFL games tomorrow.
Makes sense. Steve, now the pressurised part of the show for you. I need your best bet and value bet. Who are you going for?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Hibernian again. They let me down, but I think they will be too strong. And I'm going to go, as I did, I'm going to go for Seville. I mean, 5-2 in a 2-horse race when they haven't lost. They've either lost once or haven't. It's something like 20-something games.
They haven't lost, yeah.
They haven't lost. So I think they're going to. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Seville would have to probably be a little bit more clinical up front. They're not going to get that many chances. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it could be a tight game, but I think it's probably the 2 best teams went through. I think disappointing for United. They had so many chances and then one howler of a mistake, and that's what you just can't afford to do against these good European teams.
Yeah, totally agree, Steve.
Yeah, that's true.
Steve, thank you very much.
Stevie,
Take
thanks
care.
very much, pal.
Speak to you next week.
Speak to you next week. Thanks, Stevie.
Have a good week.
Okay,
all the best.
Bye-bye. There we go, Stevie B, the man who knows what's going on, certainly clued up, keeps us up to date with these transfer moves that, as he said, the trickle will turn into a
you've got
torrent.
connections, Watford, Fulham.
He's well connected. He finds out what's happening behind the scenes for us. And well done to him. But let's go to the European League final, the Europa League final, let me get that right. It's the team Seville that he likes.
Yeah.
They knocked out both the English teams.
Well, they beat Wolves and Man United. Paul.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have beat United. United had a million chances. And, Inter Milan's I think, Paul, I took 5-1 Seville to win the competition. When it got to the knockout stage, they had a great season, well organised. I like the coach. But Paul, Inter Milan murdered Shakhtar. They got too many.
They were woeful.
They were terrible.
Yeah,
they had one chance. They had it when it could have been 1-1.
Yeah,
but after that, they just got too much. I think they'll have too much, Paul. If Inter Milan get the same chances Man United have,
yes,
I think it's Inter all day. And their defence is solid. Godin, they're organised, Paul. 12-10, that's my bet of the weekend, even though, I'm funking that Seville can do something to get me my long-term bet. But it's Inter Milan for
playing
me.
the averages.
Yeah.
Champions League final, Budge.
Paul, this should be a humdinger.
They have got some holes at the back, Bayern.
Paul, holes. It's like a sieve at the back, yeah. The right back, Kimmich, is a midfield player. The left back, Canada's greatest ever, could be sportsman the way he's playing, Alphonso Davies. But he just lets you go. And if you let Neymar and Mbappe, the 2 centre-halves, Paul, can't defend.
They're firing. Mbappe and Neymar, sure.
And, even Di Maria.
Di Maria behind them,
in the middle of the park isn't too good defensively.
They will score goals. This has got to be goals, Budge.
Has to be.
Has to be goals. For years I've tipped PSG to win it because of the quality, and for years they've let me down. They might let me down again, but Bayern Munich have got the record.
Paul, I do a podcast with the Hollywood guys every Thursday. And when they lost the first leg 2-1 to Dortmund, I said, guys, we've got to have an interest. PSG, they were 10-1. So we took 10-1, the guys, and so I'll get hold of them later.
Gee, well done.
Paul, they haven't done, I've always backed them. We fall for them. But this is the best PSG. They look well organised. Normally they've got 1 or 2 players in the middle of the park that go missing. He's got them organised, Paul. This is capable of an upset, but it's hard. When you look at the firepower Bayern Munich has got.
Is there betting out?
It's 8 to 10 Bayern Munich, 24 to 10 PSG.
I'm going for PSG.
You know, look, it's I think it's 8.5 to 10 PSG in a draw. Bayern to win, both teams to score. So 18 to 10
PSG in a draw. That's me. That's me. So, well done, Budge.
Paul, this will be a humdinger. Let's hope it's a humdinger. We don't get Neymar diving and all the cheating and that. But knowing Bayern Munich, they're going for the jugular.
Yeah.
This should be a cracker, Paul.
When is it played?
It's Sunday, 9 o'clock.
I'll be watching. Right. Let's talk PSL.
Sure.
But the midweek fixtures, what's amazing me is, as you said earlier in the show, these big teams are stumbling. There's not many goals being scored. Bidvest Wits at home to Golden Arrows, no score.
0-0, Paul, it was on.
Chipper
Wits hit the bar a few times, Paul. They should have won.
What are you, the pub or the bar? Chipper, 0.
Yeah.
Highlands Park, 0.
Yeah, I went for Highlands, Paul. The game wasn't on, but it's desperate stake at the bottom, Paul.
Pirates at home to Baraka, 1-1.
I watched it, Paul. I just can't believe it's the same. Lodge came back. You can't believe it's the same team. But when we mentioned, when we played in that era, Paul, half-felt, middle of winter, bumpy pitches.
Oh, bumpy pitches like
they're not, even if you do water it, they'll freeze. That's the biggest problem. The pitches are dodgy. That's why you've got to be direct. Yeah. And that's what the problem. Too many games are draws, Paul.
And Wednesday, Bloom 3, Kaiser Chiefs 1.
Paul, you can't believe what you're seeing from Chiefs. You know, their chances, but they're not organised, Paul.
No.
You know, Celtic have come right. They should have beat SuperSport. They're in the cup final. Dangerous team.
Has Chiefs' defeat opened the door slightly?
It has. Sundowns are 6 points behind them. They've got a game in hand against Maritzburg.
So let's make it 3 points.
Yeah. And they've still got each other to play. They play 30 games. Yeah.
Okay, and then, 30 games. There's SuperSport 44, 26, too many games.
Yeah.
And down the bottom, let's go to the bottom, very interesting. Bottom of the log, Polokwane, played 26 games, 23 points. Yeah. Black Leopards, a game in hand, 23 points. Yeah. Amazulu, a game in hand, 24 points. It's tight, eh?
Big games, Paul.
Baraka, if Baraka, who've had 26 games for 25 points. If Amazulu and Black Leopards win to go to 26 games, they both go past Baraka.
Yeah. Now, Paul, the bottom team gets relegated automatically, second from bottoms in the playoff. So
why don't
pressure.
They do 2 up, 2 down? I'm always amazed that it's so tight. Don't they want these teams in? And then Chipper United, 27 points. Not out of it, but
Paul,
tight.
You know, 2 wins and you're out of it.
Stellenbosch playing tonight, Cape Town City.
Local derby, I think it's at Mill Park.
Okay.
So, be a tight game, Paul.
Yeah. All right, let's go through the fixtures this weekend then. Yeah. But we're starting with the Friday game. Yeah. Golden Arrows 8 to 10, Black Leopards.
Well, I think the betting should be a lot closer. Black Leopards, I watched them play Maritzburg. They won 3-2. They played good. Maritzburg were woeful. Yeah. But Black Leopards played well. They'd lost their previous 9 away games. Golden Arrows don't score many goals, Paul. Not that many do. I wouldn't be taking 8 to 10. This could have upset written all over it. Black Leopards are desperate. Dylan Kerr's got them organised. For me, it's win and draw Black Leopards.
Okay, I'll put it down for draw for you at the moment. Okay, then Bidvest Wits 6 to 10.
Paul, they've just a million games. Gavin's chopping and changing. They just got no luck. They're playing a lot of youngsters. I think Amazulu can get something out of that game, Paul. Okay. Yeah, they're not the worst of teams, Amazulu.
They need at least a point.
Yeah, they drew 0-0. Their previous game on the half-field, they beat Chiefs.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they can get something out of it.
They're going to be fighting for their lives. Yeah. Well, Gavin Hunt must be experimenting a bit.
Yeah, he is. He's got no pressure. Can't win the league.
Does he stay with the club next year?
Well, they've been bought out, but he won't be staying. He's on rockets. Yeah. Johnny Latch told me yesterday. Yeah. So he'll be looking for a job.
He's a very good coach.
Yeah, top-notch, Paul.
Okay, let's look at Maritzburg United, Mamelodi.
Paul, this is Sundowns. They can't win this game. I've been disappointed. They put a couple of youngsters in the team, and they haven't performed. It's time to get the old dogs back in.
So Mamelodi Sundowns, even money, good bet, or they can't?
Yeah, I've got to win, Paul.
Polokwane Highlands?
Paul, I was on Highlands. I watched them play Sundowns. They played great. They should have won. I thought they'd have won in midweek, but 0-0. Likewise, well organised. But Polokwane, bottom of the league, Paul. Ooh, desperate stuff. Of the two teams, I like Highlands, but the draw's obviously a player.
Okay, so that's a Saturday game.
That's Saturday.
So we've got 3 on the Friday.
Yep.
Nicely staggered times if you want to watch them. Yep. All right, then let's look at the next lot. Baraka Chipper.
Paul, you know, I've watched both teams. This is going to be desperation stuff. We took 2-1. The draw's a player there, Paul. I know I don't like backing the draw, but this is going to be 0-0, 1-0. You know, let's not give anything away. Try and score on the counter. That we know counter attacks. They'll both park the bus. Paul, I think 2-1's a bet in that game.
Cape Town City, Orlando Pirates.
Well, Cape Town City play tonight.
Yeah.
You know, and they were impressive against Sunday. That Kermit Erasmus up front was superb.
Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog. Geez, Paul, he tortured them. They won 3-1. It was 3-2. They were superb. Now, you play Thursday and Sunday, Pirates, they can't score a goal. I think they scored 2 goals in 6 games.
Wow.
You know, Lorch came back. They've had disciplinary problems. If Cape Town City didn't have a game tonight, I would take the 22-10. But because they did, you know, Pirates of 13-10, that's why they're short. But it has to be a draw, Paul. Pirates,
so that's Sunday at 3:30.
Yeah.
And then Sunday at 6.
You know, well,
Chiefs at home to Stellenbosch. Chiefs should slaughter them.
They should, but you know, Steve Barker's done a good job, Paul.
Yeah,
I think they've won 5 and lost 2 of the last 7. But they play tonight. That's the only thing. Hard game, Cape Town City.
Yeah.
You know, local derby in Joburg, but it should be
Dead of
Chiefs.
winter.
Paul. But the pressure's coming on these top teams.
Yeah.
But it should be Chiefs.
They're stuttering, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't take 5-10, but it should be Chiefs all day.
All right, let's look at your soccer
exotics.
pools.
Yeah. Paul, kick-off, obviously, we do the Saturday pool. Soccer 6. Yeah, I don't see Highlands Park getting beat, so I've got Highlands win and draw against Polokwane. I think Motherwell will be too good for Hamilton Academicals. I think Rangers will beat Kilmarnock. I've gone the field in the St Mirren Ross County clash. I don't see Dynamo Moscow losing to Arsenal Chula. And I've gone the field in the Baroka Chippy United game, 2-1-6.
Next one, French.
The second one is the French and the Czech Republic. I've gone Bordeaux win and draw at home against Nantes. I've sided with Tbilisi to get a result against FX Pibram. I don't see Slovan Liberec losing to Sigma Olomouc. And I've gone with the home team, FC Vostad Zlin against Slovakko. I've banked CSKA Moscow to beat Rubin Kazan. Ended up with Lille, win and draw at home against Rennes, 192.
You have to really search to find out information on these games.
Paul, you know, as pointers complaining, for me, they've got to do something to put Czech Republic games in with French and South Africa. I know the guys are limited with what they can do, but you've got to try and find leagues that people can have info
appeal
on.
to them. I agree with you. Let's go to 10, Butch.
On to the 10, I've gone Highlands Park win and draw against Polokwane. I've banked Motherwell to beat Hamilton. Rangers to beat Kilmarnock. I've sided with Ross County, win or draw at St Mirren. Likewise, I've gone Dynamo Moscow to win or draw against Arsenal Tula. On to our second page, I've gone with Tbilisi to win or draw against FK Pibram. I've gone Slovan Liberec to win and draw at Sigma Olomouc. I've gone with FC Vostad Zlin, win and draw at home against Slovakko. Banked Zenit St Petersburg to beat Tambov, and gone Baroka, win and draw at home against Chippa, 256.
Okay, Bud's the big one.
13, controlled by the Swedes with a lot of Swedish fixtures.
But just before you go through this, when they put these Czech sides in these different sides, the pools must be smaller.
Paul, it's like anything, you know. If people understand the teams, I know it's difficult.
Yeah.
But to just keep having more pools and to throw more and more teams, it doesn't work for me.
People lose interest, no doubt.
It is difficult. You know, it's easy to say, well, there's no English, the major leagues are down. But, you know, just to keep throwing teams that no one's heard of.
I've never heard of some of these guys.
But the Swedish one is always popular, Paul. This is a carryover. There'll be 20-odd million in the kitty here. So I've gone Gaze Gothenburg, win and draw at home against Algreit. I've gone with GIF Sundsvall to avoid defeat at Halmstad. I fancy Luginskiel to avoid defeat against Oscars. I'm going for Haninga, win and draw against St. Beacons. I'm banking Sylvia to beat Sollentuna, Motherwell to beat Hamilton, and I've gone with Ross County to avoid defeat at St. Mirren. Our second page, I've gone Strom Godset to be too good for Viking. I fancy Rosenborg to beat Njalen away from home. I've banked Elfsborg to beat Ostersons, Malmo to beat Falkenbergs, and I've gone ARK Stockholm, win and draw at home against Helsingborg, and ended up with Varberg Bois, win and draw at home against Orebro, 256.
All right, but let's go look at your best bets.
Paul, not the most to choose from, but what can we do? We've got to have a dip. Paul, I think Mamelodi Sundowns will beat Maritzburg. I think Amazulu will get at least a draw against Bidvest, just because the clever boys, they've had a busy schedule playing every few days. And I'm chancing the draw in the Baroka versus Chippa United game, Paul. 2,300 to 200. The Scottish treble, I've gone both teams to score in the St Mirren, Ross County, Motherwell, Hamilton games. And Odsonne Edouard, the Celtic, good player, Paul. He'll get a move to England one of these days to be the first goal scorer.
Okay.
You know, he's like 5 to 10 to score any time. Some chancing first.
Yeah.
You know, he's like 7 to 2.
Does he take the penalties?
Yep, he does. 2,200 to 200. The second page is a team's only quad. I'm going Inter Milan and Mamelodi Sundowns to score over 1.5 goals.
Okay.
I've gone Malmo to score over 2.5 goals against Valkenburg. And I'm going PSG to score. I saw 5 to 10, 2,300 to 200.
Okay.
A Swedish quad, which is back in the play.
That's hard.
Yeah, always difficult, Paul. But anyway, I've gone Malmo to beat Valkenburg. I've gone Norrköping to beat Häcken and both teams to score. And I've gone both teams to score in the Kalmar and Jalby and Sirius Hammarby fixtures.
Serious?
Yep, 2,200 to 200. A Brazilian's back, Paul.
Yeah.
Thankfully. So I've gone Atletico Paranaense, win and draw at home against Fluminense. I've gone Guaz to beat Atletico GO. I've gone RB Bragantino to win at home against Coritiba. And I'm going Sport Recife to win or draw at home against Sao Paulo on Sunday. 11-1, 2,200 to 200. And our Collis King, 6 or Nixa.
Yes.
I'm going Sundowns to beat Maritzburg. Celtic to beat Dundee United. Rangers to beat Kilmarnock, Malmo to beat Valkenburg, Norrköping to beat Häcken, and Atletico Paranaense to beat Fluminense, 2,500 to 200.
Question I might have asked you before. RB and RB Leipzig, what does it stand for?
They've changed it. It is Red Bull, but it's a Raisin Ball Sport.
Raisin Ball Sport.
Yeah, that's Leipzig. They've kept, because they own Austria Salzburg.
Yeah.
So that's RB Salzburg. That was their original
Raisin Ball Park.
Yeah. Raisin Ball Sport Leipzig.
Yeah. Raisin Ball Sport, that's it, Leipzig. Yeah. All right, well, let's hope those crack into shape. Nice to hear from Stevie. We're up to speed with everything. But let's hope the results go our way. Interesting what's happening in the South African League as well.
Oh, Paul.
And but just talking about last one standing. Yeah. With the first week, not every team playing. Will you start in the second week?
Well, we've got to wait till Man City, Man United are included, Paul. That's the favourite.
The second week.
So it could be the second. It'll more than likely be the second week, yeah.
Okay, excellent. There we go. Till we see you next time, stay on side.